come in all kinds of old shackly wagons and on horses. The circus would leave before night, so our show would have a pretty good chance. The Duke, he hired the courthouse, and we went around and stuck up our bills. They read like this: Shakespearean Revival! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Wonderful attraction! Exclamation. For one night only! Exclamation. The world-renowned tragedians, David Garrick the Younger of Drury Lane Theatre, London, and Edmund Kean the Elder of the Royal Haymarket Theatre, Whitechapel, Pudding Lane, Piccadilly, London, and the Royal Continental Theatres, and their sublime Shakespearean spectacle, entitled The Balcony Scene in Romeo and Juliet! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Romeo, Mr. Garrick. Juliet, Mr. Kean. Assisted by the whole strength of the company! Exclamation. New costumes, new scenery, new appointments! Exclamation. Also, the thrilling, masterly, and blood-curdling broadsword conflict in Richard III! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Richard III, Mr. Garrick. Richmond, Mr. Kean. Also, by special request, Hamlet's immortal soliloquy! Exclamation, exclamation. By the illustrious Kean! Exclamation. Done by him 300 consecutive nights in Paris! Exclamation. For one night only, on account of imperative European engagements! Exclamation. Admission 25 cents. Children and servants 10 cents. Then we went loafing around the town. The stores and houses was most all old, shackly, dried-up frame concerns that had never been painted. They was set up 3 or 4 foot above ground on stilts, so as to be out of reach of the water when the river was overflowed. The houses had little gardens around them, but they didn't seem to raise hardly anything in them but Jimson weeds and sunflowers and ash piles, and old curled-up boots and shoes, and pieces of bottles and rags and played-out tinware. The fences was made of different kinds of boards, nailed on at different times, and they leaned every which way, and had gates that didn't generally have but one hinge, a leather one. Some of the fences had been whitewashed some time or another, but the Duke said it was in Columbus's time, like enough. There was generally hogs in the garden, and people driving them out. All the stores was along one street. They had white domestic awnings in front, and the country people hitched their horses to the awning posts. There was empty dry goods boxes under the awnings, and loafers roosting on them all day long, whittling them with their barlow knives, and chawing tobacco, and gaping and yawning and stretching. A mighty ornery lot. They generally had on yellow straw hats, most as wide as an umbrella, but didn't wear no coats nor waistcoats. They called one another Bill and Buck and Hank and Joe and Andy, and talked lazy and drawly, and used considerable many cuss words. There was as many as one loafer leaning up against every awning post, and he most always had his hands in his breeches pockets, except when he fetched them out to lend a chaw of tobacco or scratch. What a body was hearing amongst them all the time was, "Give me a chaw of your tobacco, Hank." "'Tain't, I hain't got but one chaw left. Ask Bill." Maybe Bill, he gives him a chaw. Maybe he lies and says he ain't got none. Some of them kinds of loafers never has a cent in the world, nor a chaw of tobacco of their own, but they get all their chawing by borrowing. They say to a fella, "I wisht you'd lend me a chaw, Jack. I just this minute gave Ben Thompson the last chaw I had," which is a lie pretty much every time. It don't fool nobody but a stranger. But Jack ain't no stranger. So he says, "You give him a chaw, did you? So did your sister's cat's grandmother. You pay me back the chaws you've already borrowed off of me, Leif Buckner. Then I'll loan you 1 or 2 ton of it, and won't charge you no back interest nuther." "Well, I did pay you back some of it onct." "Yes, you did, 'bout 6 chaws. You borrowed store tobaccer and paid back niggerhead." "Store tobacco is flat black plug, but these fellows mostly chaws the natural leaf twisted. When they borrow a chaw, they don't generally cut it off with a knife, but set the plug in between their teeth, and gnaw with their teeth and tug at the plug with their hands till they get it in two. And sometimes the one that owns the tobacco looks mournfully at it when it's handed back, and says sarcastic, 'Here, give me the chaw and you take the plug.' All the streets and lanes was just mud. There weren't nothing else but mud. Mud as black as tar and nigh about a foot deep in some places, and 2 or 3 inches deep in all the places. The hogs loafed and grunted around everywheres. You'd see a muddy sow and a litter of pigs come lazying along the street and wallop herself right down in the way, where folks had to walk around her, and she'd stretch out and shut her eyes and wave her ears whilst the pigs was milking her, and look as happy as if she was on salary. And pretty soon you'd hear a loafer sing out, 'Hi, so, boy, sick him, Tige!' and away the sow would go, squealing most horrible, with a dog or 2 swinging to each ear, and 3 or 4 dozen more coming. And then you would see all the loafers get up and watch the thing out of sight, and laugh at the fun and look grateful for the noise. Then they'd settle back again till there was a dog fight. There couldn't anything wake them up all over, and make them happy all over, like a dog fight, unless it might be putting turpentine on a stray dog and setting fire to him, or tying a tin pan to his tail and see him run himself.